Greetings, dear ones. I'm often asked about the evolution, the speed of evolution, how to rapidify the pace of our growth or the movement or the journey, how to uh, move faster on the journey or how to evolve even more faster. So basically, I'm telling you something that what I follow. So as I told you, my answer is very much about from my personal point of view and how much I have understood and how much I have followed this in my own life and how much I have related again the results of what I follow with. So I'm talking from that point of view. Basically, it's the feeling that I'm not moving faster enough, or my journey is going slow, or the feeling of I'm feeling stuck on this spiritual journey. This is all a very normal kind of thought process that happens in almost all the seekers. At some point of time, at some point of the journey, we do feel that things are not moving the way it should move. And this happens because our minds are always the minds have always learned to look around and then look within and compare ourselves with the things around us. That is how we look at things, because right from school we are taught how to be better than the others, or the world teaches you how to judge yourself and judge others. By judging on what others have gained, we normally are taught by the world and society to gauge our own processes, our own evolution, or our own pace in whatever we do in life by looking or glancing into the neighbor, their process or their evolution, their speed, or where they have reached on the journey, be it schooling or sports or anything in life you take. We first happen to look outside. Why us? Even our parents, our elders, our teachers first compare you with the others and say, look, that person has gone there, this person has gone here, this person has reached here, this person has achieved this, that person has done that. What have you done? Where are you? As parents, we often ask our children these kind of questions by comparing them to others. So the child obviously starts feeling a little bit inferior, or looks at the world and says that this is how I gauge my life. This is how I gauge as to where I stand in life, by looking at where others stand in life. Because this comparison is always done very, very strongly by our peers and society and teachers and elders and even in the family. Obviously unknowingly, but these are the detrimental effects that we have, and whole life we then begin calculating and measuring our own progress and our own state by looking at what others are doing. So when we come into this path of spirituality, naturally it's a natural tendency that we get, that we start obviously again comparing by looking around, looking at this person and that person, and then gauging, or I would say in crude words, judging ourselves and condemning ourselves. So this is one reason why we get this kind of a thought. That is why I said it's quite normal to have this kind of thought. Normal, I say, actually it's not normal, but on an average basis, if you see, it's very, very common. So based on that common happening, I'm saying it is a normal trend in this world to have this kind of a question. So why I'm putting stress on this is because you got to become aware of this particular thing itself, that it's not natural to first of all gauge your progress by looking at the world. So that itself is not the true understanding, and that will never give you the true whatever the truth is. So first is we stop looking at the world around and then putting ourselves along with them and seeing who has gone where. So first, when we curb this whole thing itself will start being demolished within us, and this kind of feeling will start deteriorating. The power of this feeling will go down. We must understand subconsciously, because of we hold such kind of beliefs and conditioning, only these kind of thoughts and feelings get powered. So now moving to the next part of what I would like to say is our growth and our feeling. I said we where we stand, the feeling of where we stand, we always look out. This looking out is called the external process. Being external, being too much outwardly. Now I am talking about a process where I am asking to internalize things. I am asking to get more inwardly than outwardly. When you go outward, there is this automatic comparison that happens. There is this rat race that happens. Then you suddenly become aware of how things are in the world, and then the comparison automatically takes place. This is because the sight or the view, the perspective is always outside, external. This external happens because of our strong roots in duality. See how connected all these things are. It's happening because of the strong connection of duality. So the more you feel dual in the sense of separatedness, I am separate from the existence, or I am separate from what I do or what I am supposed to be, then all these kind of feelings will start happening more. So internalizing is the best option as far as I have felt. Internalizing means non-duality. We move from external to internal. So our projection now has been external. When we internalize it, suddenly there is nothing to compare. Suddenly all that you are knowing is an awareness of yourself. You are just being aware of who you are completely. And the catch is, the feeling of feeling incomplete or not good enough is only because our attention is outside, projected outside. The moment we project that inwardly, inside, suddenly you will start feeling the fullness of who you are. You are centered in who you are, and a sense of completeness begins there. Till now, the energies have been projected outside, so there is absolutely nothing left with yourself. It's always outside. Energies are lost when it is externalized. Now when it is internalized, you are centered. You can take it with simple examples or simple things that I talk about. Simple examples of awareness. When you are being aware of things outside of you, how do you feel? And when you are being aware of things inside of you, or you yourself, how do you feel? Just check it out. You will feel more complete, more accomplished, more contented, more peaceful, more joyful when your awareness is on yourself. When your awareness is on yourself, and when you can feel your presence, that means that completeness has come already. Then there is no need to even feel incomplete. Automatically you won't feel incomplete, because now you that pleasure, that joy that you are witnessing within yourself, that will give you a completeness. So internalizing is very important. Even our devotion, even in spirituality or religion, we always, even in spirituality, we look out at something. There might be a person who inspires us. There must be an ideal individual or a role model, and it could be anyone. It could be our master. It could be somebody, a great avatar, somebody who has done something, God, you know. But the only thing is, even this God or any identity any personality that we are linking on to or looking up to, is always, if you watch carefully, is always outside. Is someone who is in the temple, is someone who is in the photograph, is someone who is outside of you, externalizing. And what happens is, though these are good practices, religion is good, spirituality is good, worshipping is good, but it is external. So even when you worship, for example, you go to a temple and you have an idol there, your favorite deity, whom you are very much connected to, you are externalizing. When you externalize, you are throwing your projections outside. And when you're throwing it outside, automatically there is a distance. See, when you're entering into a temple, you have, I've seen people who enter the temple and who are struggling to have one glimpse of their deity. Struggling, and they'll do anything. They'll push, they'll throw people around, they'll rush through it, they'll break rules, anything, because now the priority is to have that glimpse, hook or crook, and run away from there. So I always tell people, when they are with me, when we are going especially into a temple system, that's not our priority. Our priority is not to run and go and touch that destination and run back like a racer does. That is not our destination. That is not our intent of going to a temple and just looking at or receiving something from there and going back. See, if you go in that attitude, what happens is, whenever you leave home, you have an idea that that idol or that temple is somewhere there, somewhere far from you. So the more distant you are from it, you will feel more far, and you will wait to reach that place, because internally, subconsciously, there is a feeling that, okay, your God is outside there and it is living, an entity somewhere very far. So if you got to connect with it, you got to travel all there, and you got to reach, and you got to connect with that. And it is like taking an appointment for a few moments, precious moments obviously, and then you rush there, and then you have that darshan, and then within minutes you're out of that place. So there is a satisfaction that you have gone and met your beloved, like how lovers meet. Why do two lovers struggle so much to meet? They decide to meet at a certain place, and whole night they might not sleep, because next morning or next evening they're going to meet up with each other. Why? Because external. Their lover is external, somewhere outside, somewhere that cannot be seen. Now your five senses are craving to experience. All the five senses are craving to experience that beloved whenever you meet. So that longing is there, that desperation is there. So till you meet that person, that desperation is there. And once you meet, then you are in the vicinity. You enjoy, definitely. All your five senses are gratifying, and you feel nourished. You feel accomplished. But then, even while you are in that moment, you are struggling to sustain that, because there is going to be a separation soon. Why? Because it's externalizing. You are looking at things externally. So there is always this risk of not getting, or even if you get, no guarantee of it being with you. Means the insecurity of losing it is always there. Why? External. And so when you leave your beloved, you are again devastated, and you are back into your. And so these kind of thoughts then begin pondering. What is this? Where have I reached in this love affair with that individual or with God? So it is an ongoing process, and whole life we end up doing this, not realizing that we are being distant with that beloved because of the external approach. The projection is external. So instead of that, if we start projecting things and internalizing those things, it can begin. I know it's very difficult to do that, but then all these feelings of not being enough and all that comes from this only, according to me, how I have seen things. So when you actually practice, you can start by practicing simple things, the process of internalizing from externalizing. From external to internal, you're going. From outward, start practicing going inward. How? Next time, I'm giving this temple example because it's very common. So next time you go to this temple and stand in front of this deity, don't look at the deity as a distant deity there, something who's far away. Then if it is far away, you'll long and throng to go near it. Those precious moments, you long to touch it, you'll not long to keep your eyes glued on as much as possible, because then you know you're a little time there, and then once you're moved out, you'll miss that. But how we can do best is, suppose that idol is there, look at that idol, and everything has got an aura. You have got an aura, the idol has got an aura, anything and everything has got an aura, because it's consciousness. Everything is conscious. Every even the stone is conscious, the tree is conscious, the table is conscious, your pen is conscious, your specs is conscious, your shirt, yourself, everything is conscious. It has got its own consciousness. Now, depending on how conscious that being is, or what state of connection it has with the universe, like what state that idol has, what kind of connection that idol has with that powerful being, it all depends on that state of consciousness, the power of that consciousness. So an idol of a certain deity will have more power because it is associated and connected with that source, that form of energy or consciousness, than a stone would have. But still it has consciousness, a certain inert consciousness, you can say. So even your books have got consciousness. Now, when you see this consciousness as separate, this is diversity, duality. The stone is different, the tree is different, the book is separate from you, the tree, the short consciousness is separate, the idol is separate. This is all outward. Now you start internalizing it by looking at that idol. For example, you go into the temple and you're seeing that idol, and that idol has got some consciousness. How do you measure? How do you study the consciousness of that idol? Is you look or feel with your eyes closed or open that entire idol as a glowing form of energy, radiating, pulsating form of energy, consciousness. The consciousness you can visualize as an aura. The idol having an aura, everything has got an aura, because that's how the projection happens. So the idol having an aura, an expanded aura, just visualize it. And the source of that aura is from the heart of that idol, center of that idol. It is glowing out. So visualize it in that manner. If you can do it even by looking at it, it becomes even more powerful. So now you're looking at that idol in awareness as a live Jagrat being, and look at it completely glowing. Now when it is glowing in that manner, now you imagine you are conscious, because you are also a conscious being. From your center, that is the heart center, see this glow emanating out and into your aura. So you have an aura also expanded. See yourself as a being of light, a being of consciousness, expanding itself, fully alive. Now you're seeing two different things: the idol aura, idol consciousness of the idol, and your consciousness. These are still dual, but now you have become simultaneously aware of two beings or two states of consciousness simultaneously at one time. This doesn't happen most of the time subconsciously. So now what you do is you merge your aura, you extend into so much that your aura goes and reaches the idol, or you can visualize the idol's aura coming and merging into you, because the idol is more powerful. It's a godly power. That coming and merging with you, and you both are merged in one. Just imagine that. Just visualize it while you're looking at that idol in that place, and feel a sense of oneness. I mean, if you do that correctly, your eyes will close immediately and you will enter into samadhi. You will just fall into if you don't understand samadhi, you will just fall into a deep meditative state and get that feeling of oneness, that idol is not different from you, because that's the reality. You are not separate from the God principle, the God consciousness. You are part of that. So now you're visualizing that truth and bringing that truth into your reality, into your experience. So don't ever think now, oh, this is fantasy, this is just imagination. No, you are imagining something that is truthful, that is a reality. So when you imagine that reality, you automatically get fixated into that zone of truth. So the truthful event actually happens. The truthful experience actually happens, and you begin. Everybody has different experiences. You begin experiencing, and I'm telling you, that delight, that experiencing of oneness can never be compared with any other experience. This is internalizing now. External God has become internal. It's become one with you. See that same glow. See that same, when you merge two flames, let's say two flames are there. Imagine the two flames merging. What happens? It becomes one flame. One flame. Imagine it in that manner. That is internalizing. So this is what my master had taught very much in his practices. He used to always say, आपको ध्याओ, आपको भजो, आप में आपके राम आप होके रहते हैं. Means the Ram, the Lord that is there outside, the God that is there outside, is actually within you, but you don't realize it. So what the practice that you do is, आपको ध्याओ, आपको भजो. Meditate on yourself. Meditate on yourself. And if you worship something outside, if you are worshipping God outside, if you are meditating on God outside, turn that within, internalize it. So he says, worship yourself. Meditate on yourself. Stay in awareness on yourself and imagine that being within you, because he says that's the truth. The Ram that you see outside is nothing but inside you. So this is the best kind of way that you start aligning with non-duality. Of course, this is a strong non-dual practice. But it can be made easy, because people think, non-duality is very difficult with all these duals. No, don't go by that. Go by one thing at a time. Go with the strongest thing that you can connect outside and internalize. And I'm telling you, the strongest thing is your God, whichever God you believe in. You can always internalize it very easily, because that is something you love and you have great respect for, and is something that you really like to merge with. You obviously, you'd like to merge with your God, become one with your God. That is always there deep within you. So that will be very easy to do than to do with anything else. Anything else means any activity that we do outside, externally. If you internalize it, it becomes very powerful. For example, reading. If you're looking at a book and you're reading a book, look at that book and feel that book as a alive, conscious being, radiating, having its own aura, having its own power. The content is coming from that consciousness of that book. Everything is stored in that consciousness. Now what we do is we treat it as different and we try to borrow it from there. We pick one line at a time. We try to memorize things. We try to exchange. We try to borrow something from that book and put it into our mind, and then churn it in our limited logical mind, rationalize it and all that. That is why it's very difficult, because they are treated as two and the projection is outside. But if you internalize it, like first you see the consciousness of that book and see it as a rich source of that content of what you are reading, knowing, suppose it is a religious text or a spiritual text, and you know that all the content, it is Bible, Quran or Bhagavad Gita, the content of that, how powerful it is, and how if that becomes a part of you, part of your being, your koshas, your Jnanamaya kosha, if you imbibe and become one with that source, how would it feel? Imagine You devouring the Bhagavad Gita and you becoming the Bhagavad Gita. You devouring the Bible and you becoming the living Bible. You devouring the Quran and you becoming the Holy Quran. Similarly with your studies, imagine the whole science, that subject, the mathematics or whatever. You devouring into it and becoming one with it. Same manner. Imagine it as a live being, full of consciousness, bright light, emanating and having its aura, and its aura expanding, and now you also as an aura expanding. Merge that, connect, merge it one, and like two flame become one, you become one, and now in that oneness you read that book. Now you are not reading it separately, it is within, it is happening internally. Aapko dikhao, aapko pucho, it is happening. In that state of non-duality it's happening, that reading. So now when you read it, you'll see it is so precious. The experience of that book changes. Now you go into that perception. Now the reality, whatever is there in that book starts becoming your experience. I have done this, guys. That is, I am speaking from experience. This is how I read books. And while I am reading, I am having an experience of what is happening. I've done this and I can vouch. For example, I can share about the book of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. When I was reading the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna in this manner, I'm telling you, everything that was in the book was happening within me. There was no difference. I was entering into states of trance and samadhi for long hours. And it was very deep. I cannot explain what was happening. But I could relate to why it is happening, because I had internalized it. The way of reading was different. So if you take steps towards doing everything in this manner, then slowly this non-duality starts becoming a part of your reality. This outwardliness will reduce and inwardliness will begin happening. That is when you start getting the grip of non-duality, and that is when you start sensing everything as one. There is no difference. For me it's very hard to see anything different, any religion different, it's very hard, even though I know they are different. But when I look at them, it's very difficult. It feels like a part of me. Though I may not agree with it, but still it feels a part of me. This is happening due to this practice and this is the Advaita philosophy. And there are many advantages if you internalize things. And then this competition will stop. This comparison will stop. Who is there to compare with? There is nothing to compare with, because nothing is now outside to compare. Everything is within yourself. You have it now. And this is something which you cannot relate or talk to or even express and tell anybody. So you are out of the rat race, because rat race is where people sit and discuss where they are in life. I'm here, I'm there, and I did this, I did that. Now you cannot even talk about because this is completely internalized, and you cannot express Advaita, I'm telling you. Very difficult to express non-duality. I told you this experience with this book. I cannot express. I can only give you this, but what really happened I cannot express. So there is no rat race. So I tell someone and someone becomes jealous of me. There is no rat race. Nor I look at somebody else's experiences and I become jealous. There is no rat race. So suddenly you'll start becoming content with these things. You'll start living with these things, and you'll start enjoying it more, and you'll personalize it. You'll become more silent. You'll become more inwardly. And when you become more inwardly, I'm telling you, there is nothing that will feel that will make you feel isolated. Even this feeling of loneliness, that feeling isolated, feeling bored, all happens because of duality, because we are constantly projecting outside. No company is there, nothing is there for me to do. Whereas if you internalize things, you will be very happy with your own company. You will enjoy your own company, and when you enjoy your own company, there is nothing to seek more outside. All these things will stop. All your outside cravings and outside wanting to internalize it, wanting to have a gratification of that externally, will stop. It will start reducing. So this is one way I can tell when you have this, you'll automatically feel that pace in spirituality, or you are evolving, and you know that there is growth happening, because all the time you can see something better happening within you. So I think uh, this video would help you. If you feel anybody can be helped with this, or anybody needs it, please do share it with them. Until I come with whatever new insight I get like sharing, bye for now. Much divine love and light to you. Stay blessed.